Recording. Over to you, Guðrun.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon or good evening. And welcome to this ccTLD news session, part 2. To those of you who don't know me, my name is Guðrun and I'm from the Faroe Islands. You see a part of the Faroe Islands in my background. Today, we are going to hear 4 interesting presentations from various ccTLDs. We'll start off with one from Indonesia, then we'll hear some heads up from Rwanda, then we go to Russia, and at last but not least, we'll hear from .eu and .be together. Some practical information before we start. Please mute your microphones when the presenters give their presentations. And after the presentations, there will be plenty of opportunity to ask questions. And if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand in the Zoom room so we avoid people speaking at the same time. Let me start with presenting our first presenter. It's Bernhart Farras Sukandar from .id. He will take us through a study on the benefits, drawbacks, and evaluation of independent registry management. You are welcome to start, Bernhart.
Okay, thank you, Guðrun. Could you all see my screen?
Yes.
Bernhard,
Okay,
if you could perhaps remove the white screen, the one with the slide overview.
the white screen. Wait.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, wait. Yeah, is it removed? No?
No.
It's back again.
Wait. Okay. Is it clear now?
Yeah, looks good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you everyone for coming to this ccNSO meetings. Let me introduce myself. My name is Bernhart Farras. I am from Pandi, the registry from Indonesia. So today, I would like to present about the benefits, drawbacks, and evaluation of in-house registry management. So first of all, I would like to explain about .id and Pandi. We are pengelola nama domain internet Indonesia, and we are the ccTLD, country code top level domain registry for Indonesia country domain.id. And here is some updates about our membership. Currently, we are in the membership of APTLD, ICANN, APNIC, Unicode, IGF Indonesia, and also APWG. And here's the update about our active domain in 2020 and 2021. We already reached our target, which is 472,569, with the realization of 486,814, and it's an increased percentage of 37.94%. And in 2021, we have reached more than 500,000 active domains. So let's discuss about the registry services. As a registry, we manage DNS, registry system, and also WHOIS. Specifically, I would like to discuss about the registry system operation and how we manage our registry system. Here's the method. The first method, we could use in-house registry system. The second method, we could use outsource with infrastructure on-premise. And the third method, we could use outsource with SaaS or software as a service. 3 of the option is great, but I would like to get a bit about our history in Pandi, about how we manage our registry system. First, in 2007, we used single application registry registrar. And in 2011, we use outsourced registry systems supporting SRS, Shared Registry System. In 2012, we use open new registrars using outsourced registry system. And in 2018 until 2020, we start the development of our in-house registry system, and we start to migrate everything in February 2020 to our own in-house registry system. Here is the in-house registry system that I mentioned before, which is if we have in-house registry management system, it could means that we have and we support about technology sovereignty. And that means preserving options by developing and maintaining own technology capabilities and avoiding one-sided dependencies, let's say an outsource. And by having IRS, you own the infrastructure and you can develop your own registry system as you want to be. Here is the pros and the cons about IRS. The pros is you will have a direct system access to your employees. You have the ability to build an in-house organization culture. You could create personal involvement to your employees and also capacity buildings. You could increase credibility in your organization profile also. But it has cons also, and the cons is its high cost. But it's only for the initial cost. If you are looking for a long-term usage of the IRS, it would benefit your organization. And you will also have team management and hiring, and everything should be solved by you. And you need to invest in skill development. Next, there is option 2 to manage your registry system, which is outsource. Outsource with infrastructure on-premise or outsource with SaaS. With infrastructure on-premise, you own your infrastructure, and you will outsource the registry system. With SaaS, you outsource the infrastructure, and you also outsource the registry system. In our case, in Pandi, we use the infrastructure on-premise before we are using IRS. And by using IRS, we could reduce our cost of operation and up to 10 till 20%. And the pros with infrastructure on-premise, you could meet government requirements, especially in Indonesia. It requires us to have our own infrastructure in Indonesia. And then there is no recruitment hassle, get the expertise that you lack, and you could focus on your urgent task. But it also has cons, which is it high cost because you have to provide the infrastructure by yourself. You are in direct control and you can reach the team in person. If you outsource the system outside your country, it will be having a different time zones, security threats, and also commitments. And SaaS also have the same problem, but there is no high cost because you don't have to provide your own infrastructure. And then the big question is, do we need an IRS? First, to answer that question, we need to analyze whether a technology is currently critical, meaning it will be indispensable or will be critical in the future, and why, and to what extent access to it could be threatened by external shock. Second, differentiate precisely in which functional context a technology is critical. Here, we could distinguish between a technology's contribution to clients, partners, customers, or organization. This distinction is important because it determines whether and for what precisely a particular technology is absolutely indispensable, and whether there may be functional substitutes that eliminates dependence on a specific technology. And in the final step, we need to consider the factors needed to produce the IRS. We distinguish here between already existing own competencies and resources, or the possibility to develop the necessary competencies and resources ourselves if needed, and access to resources, competencies, and upstream services of third parties. Next, here is the benefits of IRS that we need to understand. With IRS, we will have suitable technology for long-term purposes. We can reduce the cost. In Pandi case, we could reduce up to 10 and 20%. There is human resource improvements, registrar qualification to meet the new standard, flexible customization, full and indirect control, and also technology sovereignty. And here is the technical part. If you want to implement IRS, first, do you have an expertise in DNS, programming, database management, system administration, networking, and security? Do you have 24/7 monitoring team? Do you have enough capital budget? Because it will be costly, but it will be really beneficial in the long run, and it will reduce the system cost. And do you want to maintain full control of your projects? Do you want to have a unique and outstanding product that meets all your expectations? And do you want to keep your product updated and optimized? If everything's yes, maybe you need an IRS. And here is how to develop and implement an IRS. In general, we need to analyze the requirement and identify the required technology for developing the in-house registry system. And then we need to analyze existing stuff and hire new staff if needed, especially in IT field and database field. And we should prepare technology infrastructure, and then we will do system and database migration. And after migration, we will do bug fixing and also doing lots of migration in production system. And I divided into 3 different systems, which is development, sandbox, and production. First, internal testing will be in the development, registrar testing will be in sandbox, and live will be in productions. Mean, we first, before giving it a test to our registrar, we will do an internal testing. And then if it's already correct and it's running well, we will provide it to registrar to test. And then we will have the system to live production, which is everyone and our registrant could access the system. And as the system running, we always do bug fixing and also collecting feedback from our customer and also internals. Thank you. That's all from me about my presentation. And let's share your thoughts and insights about how to manage our registry system.
Thank you very much, Bernhart. Very interesting presentation. And I'm sure there must be some questions for you out there. I can see that Roalf from .nl has raised his hand. You're welcome to take the floor.
Thank you, Guðrun, and hello, everyone. Yeah, Roalf Meijer from .nl. Bernhard, thank you for the very interesting presentation. I think it's a very, it's a subject that many of us are looking into quite frequently. And we are also at the moment, so far, we've always had an in-house registry system. But even at our size and with our revenues, we have more than 6 million domains under management and a turnover of about 20 million euros a year. We still find that it is very expensive to run our own system. It seems that once you have it, that is the biggest investment. But to maintain it, to keep it secure, and to keep it scalable and to adapt to the standards that develop outside your organization, it's a pretty big project. So we are looking into the possibilities of, well, should I call it joint development? So where we have multiple registries that share the same code and develop together, and if they want to have a specific feature that the others don't want, well, they develop that themselves, but the basic system is the same for multiple registries. And in that sense, in that way, you can share the cost among a larger group of registries. So have you ever considered that, or have you looked at that option?
Okay, thank you so much. Roloff, right? If I'm correct. Yeah. So yeah, managing 6 million domain and also having 20 million euro per year is a good achievement, first of all. And also yeah, maintaining IRS, it will be costly, and but for our side in Pandi, we develop it by our own system. So currently we are not doing it or sharing the technology with everyone, but in development part. But in terms of people who want to use our system, we really welcome to collaborate. I hope
Guðrun,
that
I have a
answers your
second question. I don't know if there are any other questions or if I can go ahead.
You're welcome to go ahead. There are some other questions, but go ahead.
Okay, my second question is triggered by, I think the phrase was a unique and outstanding IRS, and it's especially the unique part that triggers this question. We deal with registrars that deal with multiple registries, so both GTLDs as other ccTLDs, and they always complain about the fact that ccTLDs all have their unique system. I think on one hand, that's a unique selling point of ccTLDs, that we can really adopt to our local internet community. But on the other hand, I understand that for registrars that have to adopt their system to all these different registries, that's kind of a pain in the pain. So I don't know if you deal with the larger GTLD registrars as well, or you just have your own national registrars. Is that an issue among your registrars, standardization?
Okay, thank you. So basically, the only users of Pandi IRS is currently only Pandi and Pandi registrars currently. But we don't have any big issues about the system, because we teach them how to use it. We do a lots of training also frequently with the registrar. But I agree with you, Roloff, because if we offer that to another registry and maybe they have lots of registrar and they have a different system, unique system, it could be really overwhelming, right? But in our case right now in Indonesia, we don't have that kind of problems, because we only use one system and we develop it ourselves. So basically, we always update to our registrar, and we also have a newsletter how to use it, and we have a 24/7 help desk to help them how to solve the issues. So that's how we manage them. Rolo.
Thank you, Bernhart. Very impressive. Yeah, an interesting subject. Thank you.
Yeah, but to add, we also have some international registrars who use our system also, but we currently we are the only registry who use the system.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bernhard. I think there are some questions in the chat room. Joke, will you read them out?
Yeah, happy to do so.
Thank you.
Let's start with the first one, which is a question by Abdallah. Apologies, it's sometimes a bit challenging to scroll in this this chat window. So Abdallah is asking, did you follow any international standards such as EPP when developing IRS? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yes, we follow the international standard, including RFC EPP 5730-3030.
Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Abdallah. There is a second one, Guðrun, if you allow me.
Go ahead.
The second question is by Leonid. For a small registry, how would you estimate overall costs of the exercise in US dollars?
Pardon me, I think I couldn't share that at the moment, but maybe later I could share about the estimate cost about that.
Okay, thank you. I think I saw another question from Svetlana asking how many people work at your registry?
Okay, so to the previous question about the RFC standard, I already put the links in the Zoom chat, so you could check it like have Pandi follow the standard or not. And the people working in our registry is around 50 people, 40 to 50 people.
Okay, thank you.
But currently we are recruiting lots of staff also.
Gudrun, there's one more question by Leonid. Do we still have time?
Yeah, there is 1 minute left.
Okay, we'll be quick then. Leonid is asking, have you ever thought of codifying your experience by creating a manual?
Yes, of course. We provide the manuals and create the manuals and also documentations about this project.
Gudrun, there's one final question. Shall we?
Go ahead.
Okay. Barak is asking, have you done a cost-benefit analysis on outsourcing versus internal development and maintenance, considering the fluidity of the application development space?
Yeah, if we analyze about our costs, we could reduce 10 till 20% of our operational costs, because with outsource we have to pay on percentage, but with our own IRS system, we don't have to pay the outsource anymore, because we use lots of open source system also, and to maintain the system we use our internal staffs. We have around 35 staff who manage the system.
Thank you very much, Bernhard. Indeed, very interesting. And that's also why the interaction was good. Let's carry on to our next presenter. Let me introduce Grace Ingabire. Am I saying your last name correct, Grace?
Yes, it's Ingabire.
Ingabire.
Yes.
Great. Grace, she's going to give us a presentation on stepping up with online presence, the case of Rwanda. And I think I'll give you the floor where you can explain the rest.
Grace, before you continue, could you perhaps go to full screen mode when presenting?
Yes, please.
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you too. So I would like to start thanking the ccNSO committee and everyone that made this possible. So thank you for inviting the Registry of Rwanda. Thank you for the participants that are here just to listen to what we have been up to. So as she mentioned, my name is Grace Ingabire. I'm the CEO of RICTA. RICTA is a not-for-profit organization representing the Rwandan internet community. My presentation today have two different topics that I would like to share with you. So I'll start with an introduction to those maybe who don't know what our registry, what our country is. Some of you, I believe you don't even know where Rwanda is. And then this will be followed up with the campaign that we are currently running just to grow the business sector online. So Rwanda at a glance. So Rwanda is a small country that is located in East Africa. You could see that one of our neighboring countries are Congo, Uganda, Tanzania, to name a few. So we have a population of around 12 million. And today we have more than 50,000 registered businesses. Oops. Sorry. So as I mentioned, RICTA stands for Rwanda Internet Community Technology Alliance. We are the manager of .rwccTLD, which is the Rwandan Identity on Internet. We have been in operation since back in 2012, and we have an MOU with our regulator called RURA. Apart from the ccTLD, we manage as well another service, which is the Internet Exchange Point of Rwanda called RINEX, and we represent the interests of the Rwandan internet community. By this, we provide workshops, we provide trainings, and we run as well the IGF, which is commonly Internet Governance Forum. So the .rw registry uses the 3R model, which is the registry, registrar, registrant as a model of operations. So we have policies that guides our operations. As of today, we have 42 accredited registrars, and among them we have 29 who are local and 13 that are international. The registrations of .rw domain names are done via accredited registrars, and as of today, all our registrars are EPP compliant. In terms of numbers, we have 5,600 domain names that are active. I just wanted to share with you, when I saw the previous presenter talking about 1,000, I was like, my goodness, what am I going to tell the audience? We are still less than 10,000. But I created this slide just to show people how we started. Back in 2016, we had 2,500 domain names. And you could see the trend that today we are still growing slowly. And as of today, as I mentioned earlier, we have 5,600. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. And as of today, we have 5,600 domain names that are active. So my next point of discussion is mainly to talk about the initiative that we launched recently in line with the pandemic. So what happened back in March 2021, the whole world was affected by the COVID-19. So in Rwanda, I will talk to our case personally. So we saw this pandemic came in when no one was prepared. So businesses closed. No one was prepared towards how long it will take, what should be done. So everyone was locked back home. Everything went online, meetings started online. People started learning to use tools like Zoom and WebEx and others. So the pandemic came in when, like my sector, the ICT sector, we were not prepared at all. So the e-commerce platforms that were in country were very few. So you could imagine, as a mother of three, I can't move from my home. I have never shopped online. So it was a crisis. And some of us here did not even have a stock that can last 2 weeks because no one knew what will happen. So the platform were there, very few, and few of the population, at least in Kigali, knew how to use them. And at that time, I remember the habit or the culture of buying online was not yet there. So we sat internally, online, of course. We said, what can we do to the community of Rwanda? Since we represent the mandate of being the focal point of the internet in Rwanda, what can we offer to our population so that they can continue working from home, buying from home, and business continue as usual? So we engaged our registrars. We looked for a community of software developers in the community just to help us create something for the benefit of Rwandans. So our business solution was mainly to create something that will help businesses continue operating even when they are home. So the objective mainly was to promote online presence for businesses in Rwanda, to promote Rwanda Digital's footprint, and as well the adoption and uptake of our RW domain names. So while home with different calls with partners, so we came up with an initiative, a campaign that we launched recently in January. So the campaign is called Elevate Your Business with RW. Common in our language, we call it Zamuka na Akadomorwa. So the initiative is mainly to give businesses owners the digital tools that will help them to transition into doing business online. So as I mentioned, it's a partnership that we are having with registrars and software developers in the community. So the campaign will run for a year, and we are expecting to have more than 1,000 businesses that will be digitized by December 2021. So the contribution mainly on our side as Richter, so we provided the domain name for free for this year, and our partners will provide website design and development this year, majority of them for free, and then hosting and maintenance of website for the developed website for free as well this year, 2021. And then our partners will help us as well to do a close follow-up with clients throughout the year. So our promotional product offering, the Elevate Business Campaign, has 3 different packages. So we looked at our community, mainly in Kigali, the city of Rwanda. So we said organization or businesses are into different categories. We can have startup, we can have those who have been in businesses for 5 years, and those who have been there more than 20 years. So we looked at it and we say, let's create packages where every institution, every industry will find himself choosing a package that fits their organization. So we created the first package, which is the fully sponsored package for 1 year. This is meant mainly for startup, professional services, consultancy, and this one includes website design and development, 10 customized email, hosting for 1 year for free. And on this package, this is where we are seeing a huge audience of people coming in. They would really want to have that website. But again, it's free for this year, but next year, we have been communicating to the prospect customers that there will be a fee, at least $50 for the whole package. That is the domain name plus the hosting package for next year. Then the second package is more of an e-commerce light. It's meant for manufacturers, hardware dealers, or handcrafts. This one has been discounted 50% based on the current price at the market. So if I can tell in dollars, it's around $250. It's more customized with offline payments, email, social media integration. And then we went ahead, we said, our businesses are affected. Some of them are still working from home or they're working on a rotational basis. What can we offer them to facilitate them to go for this package? So with the registrars, we are accepting, we agreed that they will provide a flexibility of paying into two to 3 installments. So the last package, which is the discounted platinum package, this is mainly a fully e-commerce website. This is mainly meant for hotels, restaurants. This one has been as well, supermarket, it has been discounted as well at 50%. And we accept as well payment into installments, 2 to 3 maximum. So the next slide talks more about how do we go to the market. So we launched the campaign, the Zamukana Kadomorwa, with an 11 days teaser, just to help the businesses that were affected by the lockdown in January. So as you could see from your left, you can see a frontman mascot, a doctor for businesses that we are using for our campaign. So what we are, the message that he's taking outside is that you need to elevate your businesses by going online and not let the lockdown slow business down. So this is the man that we are using for this campaign. We conducted a multi-channel campaign in digital, PR, social media. So I think for those who are on social media, you have seen us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and elsewhere. So we embarked as well on a media tour where we visited most of the channels, media engagement on radio, on TV, where we're engaging the citizen in Kigali, sensitizing them to go online. So the response has been really overwhelming. I could tell that from the month of January, we managed to onboard 100 customers, and people were still asking, we want more, we want more. Then later on, we engaged different corporate institutions for their endorsement. For instance, the Ministry of ICT, some of the corporate organizations in Rwanda, so that we can have their buy-in. And basically for now, they're even promoting our campaign on their social media platform. So we had a partnership with other institutions as to get the customer base, because we are going out on social media, on radio and elsewhere, but we still need to have the customers that we can engage directly through our registrars. So we continued with the community, and we are still doing the community engagement with talk shows through webinars in partnership with the ICT Chamber of Rwanda across all sectors. That is the agriculture, the education sector, so that we can continue to onboard people. So as of today, we launched corporate sales pitches. This is mainly a door-to-door into malls and shopping centers, where we have foot soldiers who are going and knocking on door-to-door, talking about the online presence and how we can continue leverage on the technology that is there. So we created as well different materials for the community, because at the beginning, we knew it's not everyone who was ready. It's not everyone who knows the importance of being online. So we created materials in both English and our local language in Kinyarwanda, so that even someone who doesn't speak the English could get at least the meaning to understand why they need to go online. So we are still in the discussion with a number of corporate organizations and hope to onboard more stakeholders for this initiative. And so far, I can say that we have 350 customers during the 2 months, which I believe is a good number for us. And we believe the community is responding to this. As a project, I'm sure there's always challenges that you face during implementation. So on our side, we met a lot of customers who were really resistant, reluctant to adopt digital tools. It has been a hindrance to us. And then some of them will even delay to provide content for the website. But as a way forward, as a registry, what we do, we normally do monthly reviews just to fast track the project and adjust whenever we have an issue. We find a way to look for a solution for that particular issue. So we are continuing as well with organizing trainings and workshops for the community, basically to show them why their businesses need to be online and the benefit they get while being online. So we will continue as well with awareness by creating relevant content for the community as well, and continue engaging as well online. So, oops. So thank you so much. I think this one was my last slide. I'm here to accept any question that anyone can have. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Grace. And you're very good on time, 15 minutes. So we have 5 minutes for questions. I saw that there were 2 questions to you from the chat. Joke, she will read them up for you.
Yep. Thank you very much, Guðrun. So indeed, there's a question by Abdallah, who is asking, is it the registrars who do the website development or the registry on the campaign package?
The websites are developed by the registrars, not the registry. So we have a partnership with the registrars. They are the one building website for us.
And are they offered for free or mostly?
So as I mentioned, we have three different categories. The first package, the website is offered for free. The second one, that's when you pay $250 for this year, 2021. And the last package, which is a fully e-commerce website, they pay $500 a year.
Great, thank you, Grace. And the next question, Joke?
Before I read the next question from the chat, I see that Roelof has his hand up as well.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
Well, I was later than the chat, so do the chat first.
Okay.
Excellent.
Leonid is asking, do you have any idea of which channel provided to be the most effective one to market your campaign? Also, any idea of paid media to earned media ratio?
Okay. The channel that has been most effective for now is the radio and TV. So people have been following up the shows that we are doing, mainly on TV, and then the radio as well. So I can mention the two, radio and TV.
Thank you, Grace. Guðrun, if you agree, I will read one final question from the chat.
That's good. And afterwards, we'll hear what Roelof has to say.
Actually, questions keep coming in. There are two more written questions in the chat.
But we're good in time, so take them.
Okay. Barak is asking, of the two languages, English and Kinyarwanda, which one does the community seem to lean towards during the engagement?
Our local language, the Kinyarwanda.
And then the second question by Hilda. What is the estimated cost of website development and hosting that the registry forecasts to incur?
So basically, we, as any organization, you have a budget for marketing. On our side, we budgeted for this campaign in partnership with registrars. Maybe I can give the figures in a chat. I can talk to the person directly.
That was it, Guðrun. I presume over to Roelof.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Joke. Well, I think this whole story is a witness that you shouldn't be impressed by numbers, and it proves that small is really, really beautiful. It was very impressive. I think you did really, really well, and I think it's a great example for a lot of other registries, small and bigger, what you can do in this kind of an emergency situation. So I'm very impressed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I believe we are many that are impressed by this very good initiative for your country. So keep up the good work, and thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Now we will move on to our third speaker. Let me present Maria Kolesnikova from Russia. She will talk about a very hot topic, if ccTLD registries are ready for universal acceptance. And I think that says it all. So Maria, I will give the floor to you.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, thank you very much for everyone. Yes, I'm Maria Kolesnikova. I'm representing Coordination Center for .ru and .rf, Russian ccTLD registry. And we maintain around little less than 6 million domain names in total. And this year we have 20th anniversary of our organization. So, but today I will talk not about us, but about, yes, quite a hot issue like universal acceptance. So I hope that you know about it. And actually, I want to check if you really understand what is universal acceptance. And I ask everyone to put in chat, what is in your mind when you hear these words, universal acceptance? How do you understand this? Just in short, please put in chat your thoughts. We will check it shortly. And next slide, please. And today, actually, I want to have a really short discussion. We have only 20 minutes on the following questions. So I would like to hear and understand if you think that ccTLD registries are already involved in universal acceptance issues, how they involved, and do you think that ccTLD registries like pioneers on their local markets, like IT experts and usually leading by the example for different local companies. Should they make their software environment and their registry systems UI ready? And how they can do it, and maybe what next steps can be taken to move forward the wider universal acceptance implementation. So, okay, not so many answers in chat, so you can add some about. So we see that our universal acceptance is about non-Latin characters. Okay, great. So please, Jörg, could you please show the next slide? Yeah. So I put this slide in my presentation just to remind you shortly what universal acceptance is about. So we will be on one page when we are talking about it. So universal acceptance concerns not only, for example, ID and domain names and Unicode characters, but also it concerns exactly new GTLD domain names, because we have new TLDs. Some of these new TLDs are longer than 3 characters, and the main problem, also one important problem, that we have now dynamic list of top-level domain names, which can be changed on everyday basis. So, and now people who are connected, developers and system administrators and IT experts who is connected with domain names, they need to follow these dynamic lists and to be able to work with different kind of top-level domains. And one big category is internationalist email addresses. This is quite a big issue, and it's in the main focus now, because you can see the examples of email addresses which are now exist, and you can meet it, and your clients can use them, and they can use them through your communication channels, for example. And the main problem here is that there can be Unicode symbols before sign at in email addresses now, and there are no such algorithm to transfer Unicode to ASCII like we have in domain names, and it's called Unicode. I hope you know it. So, and this is quite an issue that is considered by developers and system administrators right now. So I hope you get a little the universal acceptance problems now and what it covers. So Jörg, please, the next slide. And today I want to present you some results of IDN survey that were provided last year. This survey is provided on annual basis. It's organized by European Registry URID for IDN World Report. And last year we joined this project and had some questions regarding universal acceptance issues. So I would like to show you some results. You see the geography of ccTLDs that were surveyed. And we get around 112 answers. And so you see that 81% of the surveyed ccTLDs support IDN registrations at second level. And most of them are from Asia Pacific region. On the second place is Europe, and on third is South America. So you can see the geography. Next slide, please. What is interesting that only 40% of these ccTLDs are IDN ccTLDs, but 70% is ASCII ccTLDs. So it means that IDN registrations in Unicode symbols are available in on the second level, but on top level is ASCII, is used ASCII. So, and most of these IDN registrations in these top level domain names. And not most, but surveyed in this last year. And also you can see some popular scripts except of Latin. So these Arabic, Cyrillic, Han that are quite quietly that are usually used for IDNs. And I want to say here that scripts, some scripts can form different languages, local languages. For example, like Cyrillic script can form such languages like Russian language, or Ukrainian language, Belarusian language, and vice versa. Several scripts can can be used in one language, like Japanese language. So this is also quite an one aspect of universal acceptance issues. Next slide, please. So, and here we can see that as ccTLD registries provide these services, so we have quite a good picture with support of exactly ID and domain names, for example, like processing them in databases of registries, displaying them in user interfaces and in WHOIS. So the situation is quite good, but not all, still not all of ccTLDs support this. Next slide, please. But when we look at the support of exactly internationalized email addresses, we see these red circles. So the level of support is quite low, and we can consider that registries still don't support such email addresses in their databases, and they just their mail servers are not ready to work with proceed such the requests and email addresses and correspondence with clients or registrars who use Unicode email addresses. So next slide, please. And like some considerations for our today discussion, so based on the IDN survey results, I want to say that we see that there was quite lack of knowledge in universal acceptance issues at all, and they are considered more like technical issues. And exactly by this reason, this year we have split the IDN survey in two parts, and one will be focused especially for technical staff and one for administrative staff. And I really encourage every one of you to take part in the survey of this year. The link was spread through all ccTLD regional organizations. I hope you will find this link and take part in this survey, so we will get better results and better overview of the current situation. And also, of course, I have mentioned the low level of VR support, and it seems that registries just very focused on the exactly registry systems, but don't think about how to implement it in their communication tools and channels. And maybe we all talking with our clients how to go online, and as we see that local language is preferable to communicate and to, I think, to address resources as well. And maybe registries need to use more their own ID and domain names and have their own user experience in how it works and what their clients feel when they use these services. Okay, and the next slide. So this was my some points for the discussion. I think we will have time to contact with you. And now I would like Jörg to put our Zoom pool very short with 2 questions. I ask you to take part in this pool. Yes, one question is your ccTLD registry, if you represent one, interested in wider universal acceptance implementation? And so it also gets us overview who we have in our audience today, how many ccTLD registries. And also the second question is, do you think that ccTLD registries should make all their systems UR ready? Because as I mentioned, that usually ccTLD registries can lead by their example. They show the best practices of how to use new internet technologies and how to implement that in their systems. So I think that we will have 1 minute also. And after that, after we will overview the results, I invite you to provide your thoughts. And I hope that Guðrun help me, or Jörg help me with the chart. So, okay. Okay. We see the results. So I I'm happy to see that most of you agree that that ccTLD registries are interested in universal acceptance implementation. And yes, we all need to think about how to make our own systems UR-ready and how to proceed it. So, okay, and if you have any questions, I would like to discuss it with you. Okay.
Thank you very much, Masha or Maria.
Yeah.
Yoke, I haven't been reading in the chat. Are there any questions?
Yes, there's a question by Joel. He's asking, sorry, I might have missed this, but what is the current penetration of universal acceptance globally?
No, this is quite a wide question, actually, what accept globally. So I can say that this is quite an issue. It's widely discussed in different parts of the world. So, and the main point where every information is gathered is Universal Acceptance Steering Group. And we see that there are lots of local initiatives and UR ambassadors who work locally and communicate with developers and system administrators and hosting providers and email service providers in their own countries. For example, me are involved in such a local initiative and also in regional local initiative in CIS and Eastern European country. And so we see that there are quite an interest to this topic, but still we have lack of knowledge, as I've already said, on universal acceptance issues. And some of developers or owners of even website, they can use ID and domain names, but they don't implement the support of these on their resources. And this is quite a problem, and we need to raise awareness better. But so usually such person, they ask for some cases. So who is ready, what software is ready, and what you show like an example of good practice. So this is my message actually by this presentation. So we, as we are quite an interested parties, maybe we should show this example to everyone. And we have the Internet Technical Standards already. So all RFCs are in place, so developers can find technical solutions. For example, we recently provided, it's testing only, but EI service platform where developers can get email addresses in totally in Cyrillic symbols. So technically it can be proceed, it can be realized, but there are also some software developers that still don't implement in their solutions the support for universal acceptance. So and this is a work that need to be done, of course, and maybe in not a 1 year, but still we need to move forward. And there are some really good examples of how it can be done. For example, some open source software, email software. We have examples of popular email software, which is UR-ready now, and it can be used like Exim, Postfix, for example, Roundcube, and so on and so on. So, and big companies like Microsoft and Apple, they are implemented this in their software, like Microsoft Exchange and Outlook. And as for Apple, in iOS 14, that was recently released, so last year. So there are quite a number of examples, but not of course, software, and we are ourselves not really UR-ready still. So if you, I don't know, because maybe you mean something else, but this is really quite big question. Yeah, and so if you want to go deeper in this question, and I really invite you to join the USG sessions. One of them will be today, for example, in several hours. So you can join and maybe see better picture.
Thank you very much, Maria. It's indeed very interesting. where I come from, we have a small ccTLD, and we just opened up for IDNs. And it really takes time to get people used to it. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Are there further questions, Joke?
No further questions. There's some correspondence in the chat, but no questions. Thank you.
Yeah, and I really hope that we can continue the discussion, because I see that there are some interest in ccTLD community, and I'm really glad that ccNSO community agreed to discuss this topic. But I think not so many questions in the queue, so I think that we need to raise this discussion further. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria. I agree with you. So hopefully this will be on the agenda again. Let's go to our last, can you hear me? Yeah. Let's go to our last presentation. Wait. Let me present Giovanni Seppia from .eu and Arnaud Recko from .be. They will give us a presentation about sustainability plans for registries. And you're welcome to begin.
Thank you, Guðrun, and thank you for the opportunity to present the work we have done together with several registries. This is, as you said, it's a duet presentation. It's going to be me and Arnaud of .be. I'll start, and then Arnaud will follow. So, as the first slide says, indeed, this is time to understand that even registries can contribute to having a better environment, and that we are not away from. Sorry, I'm just having a bad echo in my hearing. So just saying that we can contribute to a better environment, and also that we can do small actions to make sure that in the future, the next generations, they can enjoy a better planet. Because well, this is a slide that was created before Perseverance landed on Mars, but to the best of our knowledge, there is no planet B. So we must make sure that whenever we leave this planet, we leave it in a better shape for future generations. That said, as I said, this is a project to assess sustainability for registries that was done in cooperation with the center and other center members. And I leave the floor immediately to Arnaud for the next slide. Thank you, Arnaud.
Yes, to give you a good morning, everybody, or good afternoon. To give you an idea on what the impact can be of the internet or an internet-based application on the environment, I've looked up the usage of electricity by the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you compare it with a country, it comes 24th in the global ranking, just above Ukraine and Argentina, who have 45 million inhabitants, Argentina, and Ukraine 41 million inhabitants. So only the Bitcoin ecosystem, which is completely internet-based, uses more than, for example, these two countries. Next slide, please. This slide shows the gigaton gap. It's a predictive model, and that shows the consequences of the global greenhouse gas production globally. The upper gray line was the business as usual line, shows us what would happen to the world when we would have done nothing and continued our business as usual when it comes to the production of greenhouse gases. The orange line shows us where we should be ending by 2050 to lower the global warming to 2 degrees of Celsius, which brings us a global sea level rise of 0.8 meters. When we want to stay below the global acceptable limit of 1.5 degrees of warming above pre-industrial level, we should be limiting our annual production of greenhouse gases to 1.5, to below 10 gigatons of CO2 equivalents. So there is a lot to do. And this is why also we have to act now, because we can contribute to lowering the greenhouse gas productions. And that's why we put together the 4 registries, our experiences, and develop a methodology to calculate our footprint and to reduce our footprint. Next slide, and I'll give the word again to Giovanni.
So thank you, Arnaud. And what we did at first is to have a center survey on sustainability, how much center membership is involved in sustainability. And it was a bit disappointing, I must say, because first of all, we have appreciated the fact that many registries, they do have actions in place when it comes to recycling or using of green energy and so on. But when it comes to measuring the carbon output footprint and eventually compensating, we can see that there is a large percentage of center membership that is not doing that, is not ready, and above all is not planning to do so. So we really said, okay, let's work hard to make sure that the message goes through, and there are more center members, but not only center members, there are more TLDs that they get into the green mode and they contribute to the environment by assessing the carbon footprint and again, eventually compensating the carbon footprint. On to you, Arnaud.
Thank you. Can I have the next slide, please? Yes. A good carbon footprint policy, as Giovanni said, consists out of 4 steps. First of all, we need to calculate our footprint, know which part of our business produces what amount of CO2, so you can really start thinking about how to deal with it. On the dealing with it, you can, the second step is to reduce your footprint. Reducing can be done by avoiding carbon or CO2 production, looking for greener alternatives, or reducing. Third step is to compensate what your actual emissions. And fourth, last but not least, is to communicate on what you do and how you can inspire others to start with their own actions. And now I give back the word to Giovanni. And the next slide, please.
So the objective of this center project was to assess and compare the methodologies that were being using by 4 registries that are been quite active since many years to assess their carbon footprint and compensate the carbon footprint. And the objective was also to come up with performance indicators that could help other registries to measure their carbon footprint. So the first phase of this center project was to come up with a report that is available to anybody with a set of baseline measurables for registry operators, and also suggestions how to set up a sustainability plan within the registry. Next slide, please. So we have, as I said, the first output was this report, and also to make available email address, which is sustainability@centerlist.org, which is at the disposal of anybody, any TLD interested in understanding a bit more what the 4 members of this project they have done, and how we can help you to make sure that you implement somehow the carbon footprint assessment and eventually the compensation within your registry. So Arnaud, Charlotte, Virginie, Giovanni, with the help of Amelia of Center, we all worked on setting a methodology. And this was done with the help of an external company that has been supporting some registries in doing this job. And we have defined some impact categories. They go from energy, waste, mobility, business travel, capital goods, and refrigerants. And for each category, we have defined, let's say, the area of this impact category and the unit with which the impact should be measured. So this was the first step of our assessment, and there was an agreement on what kind of impact categories should be included in this report. Next slide, and on to you, Arnaud.
So once we have established on what part of our business produces which amount of carbon dioxide, let's try to look at reducing that production. There's a lot of ways, there's 3 major steps in there that you can take. First of all is to look for alternatives that have a lower emission, like, for example, switching your offices to green electricity, or looking for carbon neutral hosting of your websites. Second step you can take is try to avoid carbon dioxide production. For example, by attending digital meetings like the one we have here now, instead of taking the plane and flying towards one. Another one, which actually save you a lot of money, is to prolong the depreciation period of your equipment. Your computer, for example, or your laptop is not, when you normally would depreciate it in 4 years or 5 years, why try not to prolong that with 2 more years, for example? That alone brings down your carbon footprint a lot. A third step is looking like for alternatives, like, for example, taking the train instead of a plane, or promoting that your employees or your colleagues come by bike to the office instead of using their car. Next slide, please. And back to Giovanni.
And then, indeed, once you have assessed how much carbon footprint your registry is having, there is a moment when you think how you can compensate for your emissions. And most of the times, this can be done by finding an equivalent carbon dioxide saving elsewhere. And there are official international organizations working for and within the United Nations schemes that can help you to find projects anywhere in the world that can help you to compensate your footprint. And those carbon offsetting projects, they are not only projects about the environment, but are projects that support well-being in developing countries. They support biodiversity, education, job creation, and much more. And these 3 pictures are coming from 3 projects that the registries that have participated in this center project, they have supported over the years. And some of them, they're quite interesting, like, for instance, at URID, we have supported a project for making borehole in Uganda safe. And this is something that, again, has both an environmental aspect, but also a social aspect. And there are so many projects that we can support. And those projects will help us not only to offset our carbon emissions, but also, and most importantly, to help local situations, again, anywhere in the world. Next slide, please. And over to you, Arnaud.
As a special part of that compensation is the adaptation for your historical carbon dioxide emissions. When you start calculating, you have to your emissions. You take a baseline, which, for example, for DNS Belgium was 2016, but we existed since 2000 and even before that. Those emissions, it's useless, or it's no longer useful to compensate them, because, well, they have been produced, they have gone into the atmosphere, and they have done already their contribution to the global warming. So we thought, how can we take our responsibility to that for those emissions also? and we looked at what the effects were of those greenhouse gases that we produced in the adaptation of the global warming. One of the effects of the global warming is that the working territory of the malaria mosquito becomes more and more big. And that's why we choose to do something about that and to face the consequences of our carbon dioxide production. And we contributed to the Against Malaria Foundations so that we could help fight the effects of global warming and a bit of what we are responsible for. So can I have the next slide? The fourth but not the least step in your global carbon footprint philosophy is the step to communicate about your efforts. These are several great or good aspects to you. One, it has a positive effect on your staff. They are mostly proud to be working for a carbon neutral company. You will have less trouble finding motivated personnel to come to work for you. But it also has a positive impact on your PR and your general appreciation of your company with your registrars and the community where you are active in. But also a major part of when you are really involved in climate change in the communication is to find partners in crime to start working also on their carbon footprint and their reduction plans. And that's why the four registries came together. We participated in this project, came up with the calculation model, and now we want to go and evangelize our idea and our project, so to enthusiasm others to also step in and take a look at their carbon dioxide. Thank you. The next slide, please.
And this is it. Thank you for your attention. This is the email address of the Sustainability Working Group at Center. Arnaud, Charlotte, Virginie, me and Amelia, we all thank you for your attention. We, as Arnaud said, we would like to be evangelizing you a bit more about what we can do. And we know that over the past couple of months, we have been requested by several other registries, at least in the center membership, to help them to understand how and what they can do to assess their carbon footprint and again, eventually compensate it. So we'll be happy and we remain at disposal for any question you may have now or in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation, Giovanni and Arnaud. I think that there were 1 or 2 questions in the chat. Joke, will you read them out?
Yeah, happy to do so. So the first question is by Abdallah. He's asking, on extending the depreciation period, do the tax authorities in Europe allow prolonging of depreciation of assets? Do they allow prolonging the period of the depreciation of assets?
Well, it's a bit of I don't know if the tax allows the depreciation. That's a tax issue. The thing is, when they're written off, just use the laptops longer instead of buying a new one each 4 year of each 5 year. Just use it 6 years, 7 years, and only then buy a new laptop. So the depreciation, that's something for tax. This is in a really easy way of reducing your carbon footprint is just, instead of buying next year a new computer, try waiting 1 or 2 more years.
Thank you, Arnaud. Guðrun, there's a second question by Leonid.
Go ahead.
Why, once we are back to the on-site format in a country where the climate would allow that, would not we think of an outdoor ccNSO session after which everyone could plant a tree?
With pleasure. I think this is for the ccNSO Secretariat to get it organized, and the 4 registries and center and many others, I guess, who have participated in this project will be happy to sponsor it.
No further questions, Guðrun.
Thank you very much. I think that sounds like a great initiative. Maybe we could do that someday.
Rul's hand is up, Guðrun.
Oh, I can see that. Rule, go ahead.
Thank you, Guðrun. It's me again. Yeah, it's just a remark, but I think the presenters are aware of that. If you continue using equipment after it's depreciated, yes, it will help your company to reduce its carbon dioxide footprint. But if you would normally either sell or give that equipment to other organizations or to your employees, like we do, then that remains the question if on a larger scale, this helps the global CO2 reduction, because now the organizations where you're normally giving away that equipment to, they might decide to buy something new instead of getting it from you. So it might be a change from the problem to another place instead of actually solving it.
Yeah, thank you, Rolf. I'm looking at Arnaud because .b has a big expertise in the laptop management, a second life to laptops, let's say.
Yeah, what we in DNS Belgium do is we collect used laptops of companies and we refurbish them and redistribute them towards children in need and help organizations that help children in need bridging the digital divide. For example, last year, when the COVID lockdown crisis started, we collected 15,000 laptops from companies, refurbished them and redistributed them towards school children who came to sit at home, cut off of their schooling system because they didn't have a laptop. And we do that already for quite some years, and we've noticed that we can prolong the lifetime usage of the laptop with approximately 5 years. So when it's written off, we prolong it with another 5 years. And when we donate it to those schools. But what we also notice is that a lot of companies just have the laptops where we collect them, just have the laptops in their lockers, stowed away somewhere in a room, because, well, somebody decided each 4 years we have to buy new laptops, and yeah, you can give them away, but a lot of them just end up in a closet somewhere, waiting until somebody brings them to the recycling center, and there you can really have an impact by not allowing to become there, not to let them end up in a closet somewhere.
Thanks, Arnaud. Impressive. Yeah.
Very impressive. And thank you guys for your presentation. We are running out of time. So I think we will do a wrap up, and Barbara, she will do a wrap up of the sessions. But before she will take the floor, I would like to thank all the presenters for a very good session. It was very interactive, and stay safe. And I hope to see you soon one day.
Thank you, Guðrun, and thank you to all participants and of course presenters. We experienced once again that, well, we are all CCTLD registries, but we do so different things in a different ways, well, except that we all register country code domain names. It was very interesting as usually. And now I would like to remind you that we are getting close to ICANN 70 meetings, so you can see a shadow in front of you. Please don't forget to register if you want to attend these sessions. It's not possible without registration, unlike ccTLD News. And to conclude, please, MPC and ccNSO can only do well if you tell us how to, and if you give us feedback. So in front you see the Zoom poll. There are only 4 questions. It will take you 20 seconds of your time, but it will mean a lot, and the result will be better sessions for all of us. So please take these 20 seconds and fill in the survey. And thanks again to all of you. And I think we see you at ICANN 70. Thank you and bye.
Thank you all, bye.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.
Bye-bye to all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.